Stitchers!
Hi, I'm Laura.
And I'm Keisha, and we are the Pattern Queens. And welcome to Stitch With Us, episode 21. Today is Sunday, March 20th, the first day of spring. And this is a channel about cross stitch.
And rambles and silliness and friendship and shenanigans and trying to figure out how to do one of these when it's just been so darn long.
It really has been. Is this the first one we've done in 2022? I think it might be.
I think it is because yes, because I found the other one somewhere in the middle of your unboxings for Flosses.
Right. So it's been a while. Hello, everyone. So as I mentioned, today is the first day of spring. And so we have decided to do a new start. We are both starting Helianthus from Ink Circles, just this really pretty sunflower piece. So do you want to talk about your materials, Laura?
Okay, we have all the called for floss because Keisha pulled them for me yesterday when we were at the cross stitch shop. Yes, and I've already bagged mine. Excuse me. But I am using a piece of apple blossom Permin linen in the color, apple blossom. I already said that. And it is 32 count. And my fabric is about 20 years old because I got it when I used to do the old silk weaver before they were Needleworkers Delight. Their fabric of the month club, and this is when it came in little bags like this. So it's been sitting. You can tell my bag is cloudy. It's been in there for a long time.
Just waiting for the perfect project, right?
It is. And this is one of my favorite neutrals.
Nice.
How about you?
Well, I'm doing mine on a piece of 36 count Heaven's Fury from Under the Sea. And this fabric is just beautiful.
Yes.
It's green with some yellow and some pinkish purples. And I'm really excited. And the cool thing is I think it was like a half yard that they had bagged up at Cecilia's. And I was the first one to ask for a piece of it. So I got to choose my corner, and all of the corners were vastly different. Like this one was green and yellow. There are ones that were more purple with like slightly mottled green. And I was like, well, I'm going for the green and yellow. So I'm really excited about this.
It'll be fun. And you can see we both made our itty bitty little pin stitch start. I've done half across because that let me pull my needle to the right place.
Same here. Yeah, and we're both starting with the very center stitch is black coffee from Classic Colorworks. That's where, and it's kind of strange that you're catching us starting in the exact same place on our project. I am a top left starter.
And I'm a bottom right starter.
Right. So we're opposites. But on this one, we're both trying to get our piece in the center of the fabric that we chose. So I have some fun questions today because it is the first day of spring. And I wrote some questions about spring. And if you have any questions that come up while we're talking, or if you want to add something into there, feel free to do so, Laura. And if you're watching us, answer along or ask more questions in the comments, and we'll work them into future Stitch With Us videos.
Yes. We did post both here and on Instagram asking for you guys to join us with your spring start. So if you haven't pulled one out yet, pause and go grab your project, and then come back and sit and stitch with us while we ramble here for a while. And
it doesn't have to be a new start either.
Yeah. And if you did start one, then let us know what you started here, but also on Instagram, and I believe it works on Facebook as well. We're using the hashtag Spring Start Sal. So if you use that, then we'll be able to see that and see what you guys are up to.
But you know what? If it's an old whip that you have that's springy, you started working on it today.
You
So
bet.
it's okay. Just pick whatever you want to stitch and stitch along with us.
I have no judgments with my 100 some odd, with my under 180 whips.
Well, and I know that sometimes it's just hard to put down a project that you're working on and excited about to want to just start something new. I kind of go through phases where I'm like, I am completely focused on this thing. And then I'll be like, oh, but I want to start. Then I'll have ones where I'm like, I will start 3 projects in a couple of days.
So Keisha sent me a message and she was like, you want to get up to some shenanigans? Because I think we should have a spring day start. So that's how you guys ended up with a stitch with us from us today.
Right. We're both very easy to talk into starting things with other people. So we're bad influences on each other, which is the best kind of bad influence. Okay. So the first question I have is, what is your favorite season and where does spring rank among the 4 seasons for you?
Spring is my favorite.
It's mine too.
I like that it starts to get a little warmer, but it's just kind of nice. And it, I like everything it symbolizes with the rebirth and all of the flowers that start to pop up. Right. I just love it.
Yeah, same here. It's definitely my favorite. I like to see everything in bloom and like baby animals and just kind of all of the things that come with it, which I guess kind of leads into the second question I had, which is, what are your favorite things about spring?
I love the rain. A good rainy day is awesome. Now we live in Missouri, so we have to watch a little bit because a good rainy day could mean that it's tornado activity.
Right.
So that makes things a little dicier, but we just kind of go with the flow.
Right. Well, and I love the way that it smells after it rains. I love the smell of all of the blossoming things. I'm luckily enough, I'm not a person who has bad allergies, so I can enjoy all that. I know that some people do not enjoy all that.
Katie Landis has been a hot mess and a half because her allergies are kicking her butt.
Right.
If you're new here or if you need the reminder, when we say Katie Landis, you take a drink.
Yeah, drink break.
Mine's water.
Hydrate. Mine's coffee. We're doing this before noon, only slightly before, but still before noon.
Yes.
And then of course it getting warmer. And then one of my favorite things in the whole world just happened last week, where we changed the clocks forward an hour. So now it's still daylight whenever I leave work, which is exciting.
I saw, and I haven't verified it or anything, but I saw that the Senate was discussing a bill to end daylight savings.
Yeah, they did pass it. I think it's going to the House.
Okay, and which way is it going? That we're sticking with daylight savings, or that will fall back in the fall and then we're staying?
That we're sticking with this so that we wouldn't change our clocks anymore.
Okay.
Which
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. So if you're not from the United States, here in the United States, in order to make a change like that, Congress has to approve it, just because it, there are some places that don't observe it, but it would throw off all of the times all over the place. So it really is a federal case to make it so that we don't have to do the time changes anymore. But I think that would be nice myself.
It would be nice not to have to mess with it. Yeah. And the spring forward is always hard because you lose an hour of sleep. And working in an elementary school, I mean, I get to see the kids on both ends. They're just a hot mess both times we do this. So
see, my boy wasn't a hot mess, but I was a hot mess. It took me a couple of days to adjust, and my boy was completely fine.
I was going to say the other thing I really like is that we get to open the windows,
Oh,
and the
yes.
cats are in heaven because the windows are open at our house.
Mhm. Yeah, we'll need to open ours up. I'm uh I'm looking forward to that because I have like a good cross breeze um, going through the house and just bringing in some sunshine and some fresh air. Uh, what are you looking forward to the most about having some warmer weather?
I think just getting out and moving more. Um,
Mhm.
it's harder to get out when it's cold, and I don't want to stay out, and yeah. So I think getting out and moving, and I just feel better when it's a little bit
Mhm.
warmer.
Oh, for sure. And around here it can be kind of dangerous to drive too far in the winter time too if the weather gets bad. So it's kind of nice to not have to plan for that as much. So we
Yes.
do have to plan for rain.
And
We
I'm
have
not
gotten caught in a rainstorm or two
and
together.
I'm not looking forward to the road crews, but I will appreciate them because they will be out filling all the holes that have
Oh, for
happened over
sure.
winter.
Yes. I am looking forward to going to the park. So if you're new here, I have a 1.5-year-old. Actually, this past Monday, he reached 20 months. So, we're getting close to that, close to 2. But last year, well, it was about November, we took him to the park on a day that was warm, and he learned how to like climb up the stairs and go down the slides by himself and everything. And then it got really cold and he couldn't go to the park anymore. And but now it started to get warm, and we've taken him to the park a couple of times since, and he just has a blast. And it's exciting to watch him like climb up things and go down slides and do a little bit more at the park than sit in the baby swing, which is what we did last spring and summer. So I'm looking forward to more of those days and to just go on walks around my neighborhood.
Yes.
I think that'll be nice.
You have a very hilly neighborhood.
Oh, yeah, no. My husband went to the park with James yesterday, and they walked there, and they got home shortly before I got home, and my husband is just sitting on the couch and is like, I need a minute. I need a minute to rest. I just came home from the park. And I was like, okay, I'll take the boy. So, so do you regularly do spring cleaning?
We do. And in fact, with everything going on at my house right now, um, we, with Jeff in the hospital, we are rearranging because we're pretty sure he's coming home with a walker.
Mhm.
And so we're trying to get the living room set up so that it is better access for him. And
Right.
um, we're just taking the opportunity to really rearrange and make things more efficient.
Mhm. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I have, for as long as we've had Love You More, it has been behind a little 2-seater sofa that we've had.
Mhm.
And it's been sitting on a desk. And so I have to move the sofa to sit down and work at the sewing
Mhm.
machine. Now, what's going to happen is that we're taking the desk and the buffet that's next to it, and we're going to move them to another spot where they will be accessible all the time.
That'll be good.
And I
That'll be
think
nice to not have to move furniture.
yes, yes. And I mean, it was a big shift of things to get everything to work and make it all, usable for us. So
Right.
we will definitely it'll be so nice for me. And I think that by moving that buffet, I'm going to be able to use it for cross stitch storage.
Ooh, that'll be good too.
Yeah.
Have everything there. See, we don't usually do spring cleaning. When we do our cleaning is whenever we take down the Christmas tree, because usually we have to arrange things for the Christmas tree to go up. And so whenever we take it down, then that's a good chance to rearrange and kind of clean and all that kind of stuff in our living room. And then we just kind of clean the other rooms as needed and go through stuff. But I have always wondered, and I guess it's probably because you can open up your house. I always wondered why people didn't just do what we call spring cleaning in January after all the holidays are done and it's still kind of gross outside. Because once it starts getting warm and the sun's out, I don't want to be in the house.
I think for Katie, I mean, I kind of get why we do it at this time, because with her allergies, the more we can have all of the windows and doors open while we're cleaning, the more all of that dust gets out of the house, and it's just better. Yeah. And I don't know that we necessarily clean like at this time usually, because Gladstone at the end of April, the last weekend in April, they will have what they call Gladstone cleanup or beautification weekend. And we can take anything over there and dump it. You can take trash, you can take, you have to kind of check some appliances. We took a lawnmower last year and there was this guy there picking them all up. We're like, we're in the market for a new lawnmower too. So we got all his contact information. He's just a guy who checks them all out and takes them home, fixes them all and sells them.
Oh, nice.
So it's kind of a good community thing.
Yeah.
One weekend is all like household stuff, and then the following weekend is yard waste. I don't exactly like that they do them back to back, because I feel like that's really hard on you to have to try and do all that.
Right. Well, it takes all your weekends too.
Yes.
I'm at a weird spot where I'm trying to figure out where I am.
I know. I messed up and had to go backwards for a minute. So we do clean like in the fall when we get ready to every time we change decorations in the living room, we clean and rearrange and, you know, just we heavy clean and do all of that. So we kind of do it the same time you do when we finally decide to take down Christmas.
Right. That was just the thing I always kind of wondered. I mean, like I said, I think it's just because the opening up of the house, but I just don't want to be in here whenever it's nice outside. I want to go run and play in the sunshine. Do you find that spring affects your stitching habits at all? Do you stitch more or less in the springtime, or about the same?
I think historically I have stitched less in the very beginning of spring. And I'm sure it's because I normally start the year off with a lot of finishes at the beginning of the year, because I'm just in that mood, and, you know, it is harder to get out and do everything. And so I will pick projects up and just work.
Right.
But once the weather gets nicer, then I'm moving and doing things. Of course, now I put in about 500 stitches in the car yesterday.
Yes, that's true. I did not. I put in maybe 50 and then I was like, I'm just gonna look out the window.
I was all spread out in the back seat, so it was perfect.
Yeah.
And I didn't need a pattern. That was the beauty of what I had with me yesterday.
Right. See, I'm pretty good. I'm good at car stitching usually. Sometimes I'll get car sick. I didn't get car sick this time though. I was really just having a good chat with Katie, so I think that my stitching kind of slows down a little bit in the spring too. Not so much during the week, because I keep pretty much the same schedule during the week, except for every once in a while we'll go out for a picnic dinner, whenever I come home from dinner or come home from work.
That's fun.
Which, yeah, it's really just to, if it's nice outside, we want to get James outside as much as possible. But I still do about the same amount of stitching during the week, but on the weekends I like to be out and do different things, and so I don't stitch as much on the weekend, and that's usually whenever I do the bulk of my stitching. It's where I get most of my progress is on the weekend. So
Well, and our stitching is about to be interrupted anyway, so.
oh, right, because we've
And
got a model coming soon.
yes, and replaced with other stitches, so yeah.
That's fine. Stitching is stitching, and I'm excited for all of it.
So definitely my, like, it will look on here like we do way less stitching because we won't be able to show you what we're working on.
Right.
But we'll still be plugging away.
Ah, yes. I'll just be like, here's the small thing we can show you that we worked on that wasn't frogwarts.
Yeah, and I have, well, I think she's giving us frogwarts first, but I also have Gilmore to get done.
Yes. Oh, but you can do that 9,000 piece thing, 9,000 stitch thing in 10 days, though.
I think that only worked last year because I was already out of school.
Ah,
That's probably also why I injured my wrist, because I did that and we had retreats and I was just stitching a lot.
right.
I have to start thinking about, Katie and I are going to StitchCon this year. We're going to Weekend A. And I
Fine.
have to start thinking about what I am going to plan to take with me.
Yes.
So things like all of the models will have to be done because I can't take those with me.
Yeah, right. Because no one can see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's always an interesting thing, trying to figure out what you're going to take to a retreat, because obviously you want to take like your big impressive pieces so that other people can see. Because, oh, well, it's kind of like yesterday I showed you my progress on death by cross stitch, because I could show it to my husband all day and he'd just be like, yeah, that's fine.
And I say things like, oh, I like the white stitches at the end of the unicorn's horn.
Right. Or, oh yeah, that big old thing inside that hoop, that is just that teeny tiny corner of the pattern. So you always want to take like your like big and intricate things to show other stitchers, but then you're like, but do I really want to pack all this? Do I want to deal with having to tote this around and then worry that I'm somehow going to misplace it? I worry.
I had the happy accident yesterday of taking Keisha's favorite project of mine with me. So she got to actually see it and hold it, touch it, pet it.
Yes. Look at it longingly.
I'm sorry, but that one is living here.
Yes. Oh, no, I understand. And it's one of those, I'm just living through you vicariously. Because, even if I had it, I probably wouldn't start it right now. I do not have time to do that. So it's nice to watch you work on it.
I know. And okay, so that one is by Plum Street Samplers. It's Blackberry House. And it's pretty good sized. I think, I know it goes at least in my large. I think it's in my extra large category. And she just came out with This Is the Day for market. And I want to stitch that so badly, but I can't because it's This Is the Day is pretty close to the same size. In fact, I think it's I can't remember if it's slightly bigger or slightly smaller when we looked at it,
I
but
can't remember.
I just can't do that.
Right.
So Blackberry House, now I have even more incentive to finish Blackberry House.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and then whenever you go to a retreat, you have to decide, okay, well, can I just work on one thing? Do I need to take two things or three things? Am I gonna get bored of what I have to work on and want to switch? Who do I know that's going? And are we doing any sals together? Should I bring that?
I have to take a tired eyes project.
Mm-hmm.
You never know how the lighting's going to be, and I don't take a light with me.
Right.
I'll have to find out if we really need lights with us, because Katie Landis and I may have to buy some lights and take them along. Really, I just wanted more water, so you know.
Oh, I have a counting error somewhere already. I'm trying
No.
to figure out what has happened because I'm gonna have to rip out quite a bit now.
Oh, Keisha.
No, everybody. Oh, like it's a bad one. Guys, I have to take out
No.
pretty much everything I've done.
Seriously?
Yep.
Oh,
Oh.
I had so when I started it,
Mhm.
I had gone along, and right here I had only
Mhm.
put one stitch in and then started going up. So I had to come back. I had to rip out probably 10, 15 stitches and come
Okay.
back.
All is not lost, I think. Because, see, basically what I did is this is where I started, and this stitch right here should be up. So really, I could just take out that middle 5 stitches, and that should fix the problem.
There you go.
If you see a piece of fabric just fly out of the frame like this, you'll know that it didn't work and that I have given up.
So I've heard a lot of people say that they like to do ink circles like this. They like to outline things and then just fill in.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
that's,
I think that'll be a fun way to do it.
yeah. And now that I put that in, I could do the other fun color too.
Oh, you could. Sorry, everyone. Now this is taking all of my concentration. Another question I had is, okay, I already know your answers to this question, but I'll let you answer it anyway. What are your favorite spring motifs to stitch, Laura?
Okay, everybody put your answer down in the comments. How well do you know me? What are my favorite spring motifs? I'm going to give you just a minute to type, and you can all send like your one word answer, and then if you post a comment later, that's fine. But yeah,
We'll
what
give
are
you
my
points.
favorite
They're imaginary, but
yeah,
points anyway.
who's collecting points today? So my favorite motifs are rabbits, but I don't
Mhm.
like I don't like um funny looking rabbits. I like more realistic rabbits.
Right.
Was it last year that I did all of my rabbit starts? I think it was.
Might be.
It was either I'm pretty sure it was, because I was in with the fifth graders, and I did, or maybe I finished them all up last year, but I had started a couple of rabbit projects, and I even um, pulled a rabbit out of part of it so that I could stitch for someone, and I did just the rabbit for them, which is really more me. But if you're giving someone a gift, sometimes it's nice to give them like a piece of you as a gift.
Right. Yeah.
So it was kind of fun. She was so surprised and it was just awesome.
Mm.
Okay, now I'm looking, going, okay, where am I? Oh, I got this.
See, usually with a pattern like this, I would have taken a picture of my pattern and then um, I I usually open it in iBooks because I have an iPhone, and then I'll use the markup tool to mark where I've stitched to kind of keep me on track. But my questions are on my phone.
Oh, and I guess my other answer is that I love to stitch florals
Mm-hmm.
and the start of spring and kind of all through summer. I will
Right.
stitch florals galore. In fact, I was looking for fabric this morning. I had 5 choices for fabric for this. Actually, I had 6, but I decided the one I bought yesterday was a little dark for the more spring summer feel I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I found a huge piece of fabric and I leaned into Katie and I said, okay, first day of summer, can we start Summer Quakers by Rosewood? So I think that will be the plan.
Oh, fun.
So you'll just
Okay,
have to get that one now, right?
sure. All is not lost. Moving the center worked.
Woohoo!
So now I can breathe a sigh of relief.
And now you can tell us what your favorite spring motifs are.
See, I like to do just like nature scenes with flowers and green trees
Mhm.
and all of the nice blue skies. And I know that that also works for summertime, but it's really the colors of things of spring that make me happy. Um, I like rabbits, but I don't stitch a lot of rabbits. I don't stitch a lot of florals. I just like the bright, like pastelly, happy colors is kind of what draws me into more spring pieces. I do have, oh, I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's a one that Satsuma Street put out a couple years ago, and it's a big goose. I
Oh
really want to
yeah.
stitch that big goose. I think it's called nest egg or something like that.
I
So that's
worked
on my
on,
list
go
of
ahead.
things. Oh, so that's on my list of things.
When you pull that out, you'll have to let me know. This month I had Sweet Spring, which is the big
Yes.
rabbit,
Mm-hmm.
and I only had the rabbit body. And that's what I was working on when we got the message about Jeff on our way home from market. My rabbit has its collar, which was 2 or 3 colors, and it has its head and its ears. And I've started on the rest of the stuff in the piece. I was stress stitching.
Oh, yes.
That happens, right?
Yeah. Do you find whenever you stitch things that you kind of remember what was going on whenever you were stitching it?
A lot of times I do. And I did think about that rabbit piece. I don't know that I want this to be, because it was looking like it was going to be really, really serious. And I
Right.
was thinking, this is such a beautiful, happy piece, and I'm not sure I want it to be associated with this. But now it will be the piece, knock on wood, we are like 99.9% sure that it is not the big C word.
Right.
So that's kind of good. That's kind of nice for us. And it's just it's a big sigh of relief, not a little sigh of relief. So
Yeah. No, I definitely remember things that I was doing or things that I was watching or, what was going on whenever I stitch on particular pieces. It's part of the reason whenever I had COVID, whenever I felt well enough to stitch, I would stitch on Death by Cross Stitch because it, one strand, uh, I don't switch colors on it a whole lot, pretty easy. I have it in Pattern Keeper. I can just kind of go. And then I got the news that my grandma had passed away. And I was like, I can't work on this. This is going to be with me for a very long time. And I don't want to have that memory associated with it. So I switched to a piece that I had been stitching for my grandma. And so that's kind
I
of what
laugh because it's a flying pig. And
it's a flying pig.
it's like the
Because that made
happiest
sense.
piece ever.
Oh yeah. And it totally makes sense for my grandmother. Like if you had known her, it would definitely make sense. So I just think it's interesting, like as a stitcher, that we hold on to things whenever other things are happening, and we just have all of these memories associated with different pieces that someone who has a different, you know, different hobby might not. I mean, I guess probably people who read books might remember what was happening in their life when they were reading a particular book or watching a particular show or playing a particular video game, but it's just kind of interesting that we almost hang our memories up like art in our houses, you know.
I have things like when I finished Rocky Mountain Christmas, I took it and got it framed almost immediately. And I will always remember that I picked it up at Christmas time because we started down I-70 and made a detour to the cross stitch shop to pick it up before we drove the rest of the 9 hours to Katie's house for Christmas. So it's always, you know, it's just always going to have that associated. And she took it from me, we unwrapped it, and she had a little Christmas display set out, and she took my piece and set it like at the back on the top of this bookshelf, so it has all these little things. I have the most beautiful picture of it.
That's wonderful.
And it was a really good Christmas, so yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, last question. Since we're on the subject of memories, what are some of your favorite spring memories?
Well, my wedding anniversary is April 19th.
Yeah.
So we have lots of years where we have had some wonderful celebrations. The year that we got married, we planned our wedding date around Night in Old San Antonio in Texas, because that's where we were going for our honeymoon. So that's how we ended up with the date. I mean, of all the things, that's what we did. And that was a great year. We had been before. Jeff had been a lot because he has family in the San Antonio area. But I had been one time before, and it was fun to get to go and do that. We also took a cruise, and just the two of us for our 20th anniversary. That was fabulous. Last year we went to Powell Gardens and spent the whole miserable day outdoors. It was so cold, and it was kind of rainy and blustery. Thank goodness the tram driver spotted us and came and picked us up, and he's like, I'll just take you every place in between. So we were still outdoors because, you know, it's an open tram with just a roof on top. That helped. But we tend to try and do something fun. We've gone just on day trips and all sorts of things for our anniversary. We just try and do something together.
That's always nice. So you have a lot of good spring memories then.
Oh yeah. And Easter is always a great memory.
For sure. Well, my best spring memory, a little in line with yours, I got proposed to on April 29th. So that's probably my best spring memory. And it was, so we were going to go see the opera Carmen, and we're very excited about it. We had planned this. We got like this special pass that let us go eat at a fancy restaurant ahead of time, and all this other kind of stuff. So we So I got all dressed up because Timothy said, well, let's get all dressed up. We'll go to the river market, which is a place that has a bunch of different shops and restaurants and things. We'll go to the river market, then maybe we'll go to a museum, and then we'll go eat dinner, and then we'll go see Carmen. And we did a lot of these sorts of dates, but we never really got all dressed up. So we went out to lunch, and I thoroughly enjoyed my lunch. And I remember looking at Timothy, and he's just like, he's kind of a fidgeter, and he's like looking at his phone, and he's bouncing his leg up and down. And I looked at him and I was like, you're kind of a nervous guy today. And he's like, oh, I'm just tired. And then he's like, well, why don't we go out to the rose garden at one of the parks here? Nothing was in bloom. So I was like, okay, I guess we can go. That's fine. I said, but can we go and stop next door and get a cup of coffee? Because it's kind of chilly outside, and I kind of want something warm to hold on to and drink while we're out there. And Timothy's like, yeah, I guess so. Come to find out why he was on his phone. Well, people were texting him to see if he had proposed yet. And he was also making an alternate arrangement with his best friend who was supposed to take pictures, that it looked like it was going to rain and maybe we'd have to go to Union Station for the proposal. So that he's like texting about this, and he's just like so nervous, waiting for the person to like finish making my coffee, because it looks like it's going to just pour down rain. And he has this whole thing planned. So it didn't rain. We went to the rose garden. He proposed. It was very nice. Then we went to the restaurant. Couldn't tell you what I ate. We went and saw Carmen. Couldn't tell you a whole lot about it other than what I knew before I saw it. But yeah, that's probably my best spring memory.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So, do you have anything else you want to add about spring? Or you think you're about ready to wrap this up?
Excuse me, I'm so
Bless
sorry.
you.
I don't know. I've always loved spring. It's always been like my season.
Yes, for sure.
And I do think it's just because we get more active, we do more things, we see more people.
Right. The sun is out.
Get filled with all those good vitamins and feel so good, right?
For sure.
We tend to take a lot more, I don't know, I feel like we take a lot more road trips too, because we don't have to worry so much about it. We have driven home through some pretty scary weather, because I told you that it's like tornado season. And we'll get up in the morning and it'll look beautiful, and we'll take up on a trip, and then we'll start home and it's like, okay, well, maybe that's a little scary now.
Right. Well, I just remember, no, it wasn't in the, yeah, it wasn't the spring.
No, because you were pregnant, but
It
you
was
were
in the
barely
fall.
pregnant. It was in the
Yeah,
fall.
it was in the fall. I'm just remembering that really bad rainstorm that we went through that one time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I couldn't see anything, and it was so dark. And yeah, It was not a drive to instill confidence in you about my driving. We've had some adventures.
We've had a few, yes.
So, and yesterday was great because we got up and left early. We had coffee, and we had a good drive and a lovely time at the shop, where we were basically the only people in there for most of the time. Got to see our friend Christy Lee. That's always fun.
Always.
And then we found a good Mexican restaurant, really good one.
Yes.
And driving home, realized that Osceola Cheese would still be open when we got there. So was Timothy, did he like your choices?
He liked my choices okay, but then he went to bed before we ate any of the cheese. So we'll
Oh,
have to eat some cheese today.
yeah, we didn't try anything. I was exhausted. We got home and I went and crashed for an hour, even after I took the little nap in the car.
Mhm.
So, but
It's
yeah,
okay.
it's like all
I
the
got
stars aligned yesterday.
Yeah, I got James in bed and then I sat on the couch and was going to stitch a little bit and was like, oh, I could just take a little nap. And the little nap turned into, I should go to bed now.
Well, I took like a short, just about an hour nap, which seems to do it for me. And then I was up and I still went to bed at an okay time, which is good because this has been my spring break week and I have to go to school tomorrow.
So you
So
got to
I'll
get
be back.
readjusted.
Yes. Yes. And I don't feel like I had a spring break just because of this year's circumstances, but that's okay.
Right.
Oh, and I didn't even mention this spring memory. Last year, Katie and I did the grand tour and went
Right.
everywhere. So it was great. We had a wonderful time and visited so many different shops and we met up with, we had planned some things and met up with a lot of the stitchers from the Black Needle Society. And that was so exciting. I loved that. And
Mhm.
just visiting different places and we wore masks the entire time because we were still in the middle of all that.
Right.
But it was okay. We did great. It was fun. We drove the whole trip and yeah, it was an adventure. So,
It sounds like it. That's fun. Long road trips like that are fun.
yes. And I think it was fun for us, we were out and having a good time and our friend Athena, we kept calling her at different times. So she would be on the phone with us for long chunks at a time. And it was kind of like having her there with us. And she said at one point she thought about flying out and just meeting us and just doing the rest of the road trip with us, which that would have been fun too.
Right. But I'm glad you got some time to just go and explore with Katie.
It was fun. It was fun. We've never done anything like that before. It'll probably be a long time before we get to do it again, but that's okay. So, you have any more spring memories?
Uh, Not so many. I mean, there's always something like, but most of my like memories that I really think of are like summertime memories. But I know a couple of years ago I worked from home for a month. It was the first time I'd ever done that, and that was pretty interesting. uh,
It's really interesting to have to try and keep yourself focused and working, right?
yeah. Well, what I found out is working from home, I was really focused and I get my work done really fast. Um, but there's just a lot to working in an office where you can like go and talk to people and get new ideas and find
Yes.
other projects to do. And so I really missed that. It was one of those, I had always thought that maybe I could do something where I worked from home and that I would be happy with that. Especially since I'm in a profession where you don't necessarily have to be face to face with people. But that month showed me, no, I need to be able to like be in a room with people and talk to them and collaborate. And working from home, I don't think would make me happy ultimately. So
I worked when Jeff and I got married, we on Labor Day moved to a small town in Kansas where we did some tax mapping. And partway through, we needed more room in the actual office. So we took a portable light table home for me. And we had me all set up in the living room and I would sit and work and do do mapping while I was there. I was doing some inking and just checking everything out and doing all the mapping work for it. But at that point, there was Turner Classic Movies, and they played, I want to say they played about 4 movies a day, and they just ran them. So they ran them back to back, and then they would, when they finished the cycle, then they would play them again. And there were longer commercial breaks between the movies. So
Mhm.
I would set myself up and just watch these old movies while I'm doing my work, because
Oh,
it
fun.
was me home alone and I didn't have any contact with anyone. So but it was good to have those breaks in between the movies, because that's when I would get up and take a quick break. And I don't know, I probably had like 10 minutes or so. So I could get everything taken care of in that
Mhm.
time, and then get back and be set up again for the next movie to start.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
and
see, when I worked from home, I was in the room that I'm in now, which doesn't have a TV or anything. I was like, okay, if I'm going to work from home, I need to have an office set up or I won't focus.
mhm,
So I would wake up every morning and I would start up my computer and I would run off this report that I ran for someone in the office and email it to them. Then I'd go to the kitchen and I'd make myself a cup of Earl Grey tea because that's what James liked. And this is when I was pregnant with him. So I would drink that and then he would do a whole bunch of flips and he would kick and curl and uncurl. I'd have my cup of Earl Grey. I'd get my work done and then I'd be like, well, guess I got my work done. And at that time, the office was kind of running at get your work, if as soon as you get your work done, you can log off. You don't have to be here, just because it was early in the pandemic. So we didn't really know what that meant.
mhm.
Um, and so I'd get done, I'd go take a nap, I'd go to my doctor's appointment. That was pretty much the spring of 2020 for me.
Other than the one day that the Landis ladies picked you up
Oh, yes. And
and
then
took
took
you
me,
on a 6-hour excursion.
yes. That was fun though, because I really hadn't seen anybody.
Yeah, and we didn't really have contact with people, and
Mhm.
we've been in each other's bubbles the entire time. So you guys should know that. That's it. It The only other person that Katie and I really saw was Athena.
Mhm.
So um we had to go deliver boxes for a retreat one day, and we had done the schedule, and Katie said, "Oh, did you see if maybe Keisha would want to go with us?" And I'm like, "Oh, I bet she would love that," because I knew that she was stuck at home and not being able to go anywhere. And Katie
Right.
and I were pretty good, um, that if we got a little stir crazy at home, we would just go hop in the car and go for a drive. And we didn't have to
Mhm.
get out. We didn't have to do anything. We went and sat at a park one day and stitched in our car.
Yeah.
But at the park, it was a park where you can drive in and like sit under the trees. So that was our escape the COVID craziness one day. But we picked Keisha up, and we had told everybody on our list that um they couldn't open the door, they couldn't come out, they should stay in, and we would just deliver the box and they could leave. And it was the cutest thing, because I would walk up to the houses and there would be people at the doors like this. "Hi, how are you? What are you doing? You have my box? Okay." And it was just funny to see all of the faces. And I mean, we were all like that.
Mhm.
You were, if you just admit it. But we're all crazy to see somebody else.
And we had some different friends, like our friends Athena and Lisa and everything, who hadn't seen me in a long time. And so whenever they found out that I was in the car, they like popped out or like came and walked outside when you were a safe distance away, just that I could like lead out and be like, hi,
They would stand in the middle of their yard, yes, and talk
the
with
baby
us.
is still inside of me. We're still here.
All this is still happening. So
Yes. Yeah. So it seems like we both have some pretty good spring memories. Um, that day was really a nice day, going out and seeing people. It's one thing that the pandemic and everything being shut down has kind of reinforced, is just like how important those, even just like casual friendships you have with people, how important those are.
All those connections, yes. That's one of the coolest things about us starting the Black Needle during 2020 is that we had the online events and we had so many people show up, and you could tell people just needed some contact, and they needed some people who did the same fun things they did, because
Right.
we were really only seeing our work friends online, it seemed like to
Mhm.
me. So, and so many people joined our hobby during the pandemic, so during the
Because
lockdown.
right, because it is an inside hobby. So, which is nice. It's so good to see people joining the hobby, because it really is for everybody. It's something that everyone can do and enjoy. And even if it's something that you can't do, it's something that you can watch someone do. Because I know my grandpa wouldn't have been able to stitch in a million years with the way, he had pretty bad carpal tunnel, but he really liked just watching things come together. So it's a hobby that you can share with people as well.
I know that Jeff will sit in his chair and sometimes he'll be like, show me, let me see, let me see.
Oh, and I didn't tell you guys. Well, I told you, Laura, but I didn't tell everyone else. Um, James is finally stitching with me. Now, I'll get it like this and I'll say, okay, do you want to pull? And he'll pull, and then he'll pull the needle off the thread, and he thinks it's hilarious. So the progress isn't good with stitching with James.
And the
But
tension may be questionable, huh?
yes, that's okay. We're stitching on fun every day together, and that's fine. But yeah, so it really is one of those, just a hobby that everyone can find something to enjoy about it.
And we maybe make unexpected connections.
Mhm.
So the spring is also probably when I met you, right?
Oh, when did we meet each other?
I think it was in May.
May have been. It was nice outside. I can't remember when exactly we met. Feels like forever.
Hopefully in a good way.
Yes. Oh, that Laura Landis. Every minute with her feels like an eternity.
Oh man. Okay, are you at a good stopping point?
I think so. As good a place as any, I think.
I'm now see, I asked you that and I kept stitching. I have 2 stitches and I'll stop.
Okay, I'm kind of in that same boat. This
And
has been a little bit of a struggle for me to stitch on during this, because my eyes are kind of starting to cross with it, but that's okay.
oh
Just not
no.
just not the easiest one. Well, as you saw, I had what I thought was a catastrophic problem that I was able to fix easily. So,
Well, and we started in the center where it's very dense,
mhm,
and you really have to count and pay attention.
right.
If we had started at the corners where we normally do, we'd have been able to see some little motifs a little more quickly.
Yes.
So,
There, I'll just blame it on where we started. That's
see,
fine.
that works, right? So there's my progress.
Wow, very nice. See, we kind of approached it a little bit differently, because even though we both started in the middle, I have stitched a completely different place. Well, I stitched, like, I went round and round in the middle.
Oh, okay.
So
I just went up as far as I could in the center of that. Here's my, let's see. Here's my little center stitches right here.
And see, there's mine. So it's funny how we started in a different or the same place and still we approached it differently. That's fun.
It just kind of always works that way, right?
Yep.
It's fun. I'm going to enjoy this one.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'll probably go and work on it some more as soon as we get off of here. Though I will take a picture of it and mark off what I've already done so that I don't accidentally make more mistakes that I think I'm going to have to rip everything out. And turns out I only have to rip out 5 stitches. Always double check before you start ripping.
Yes. Yes. And I didn't go backwards very far. So that was pretty good for me.
Yeah. Right.
And remember, if you started a project during this, stitch with us, post a picture, let us know. Spring Starts Sal, and you can do that on Instagram or on Facebook and just hashtag it and we will get to see it.
Yes, because we will go and look at them, and I'm sure everything you started is beautiful, and all the whips you pulled out also beautiful.
Yes.
Even if they weren't spring related, it's fine. Thanks for coming and hanging out. All right. Well, Laura, do you think we've rambled enough for today?
We might have, and I think we've had a lot of shenanigans too. So
I guess all that's left to say is bye, everyone.
Have a good week.